Welcome to This Week in Astro. It is the end of March, and so this is pretty much the last news update for the month of March. And as always, we're introducing you to the GitHub repo where you could find everything and keep up to date with everything related to Astro. That is GitHub/with Astro. So now we're looking at the release of 0.25. Version 25 has come with something very new, and we're going to be exploring this in a wee demonstration later on, where Astro's introduced a new add command to the CLI. Now, this basically makes it a lot easier for you to configure the new integrations API, and we're going to be talking about this more detail in a second. Just to announce, the new CSS parser has landed within Astro, so you can use the container queries and the CSS cascade layer queries as well. For compatibility reasons, we do recommend you still use auto prefixer with post CSS under the hood. There's been additional patches that have been made just to increase the stability of it, and there's been a lot of releases in the last couple of days, hot off the heels of each other. Again, mainly stability and making sure that 0.25 works as intended. So this will be coming probably as Astro does, any minor changes that need to be released before the next major change. These tend to be done in minor releases on a daily basis. What I'd like to say is that the migration docs for 0.25 has been released onto the doc site. You can find everything related to 0.25 here. The big change, like we discussed last week in our episode, was that Astro's moving away from containing the renderers within the config, which is a namespace that was contained especially for this. And just to show you the previous configuration file, um, as you can see, we used to declare renderers if you were using any frameworks. We used to declare this within the renderers namespace. So, and it was an array where we just placed the renderers, and these brought the renderers out, out the background and into the foreground for you to use within your Astro project. Now, renderers has been deprecated, is being replaced by the new integrations namespace, and this is where all your renderers will now be finding their new home in. So if you're currently using any UI framework, please note that this is a breaking change, and you will have to make this one small change to your current configuration file for it to be up to date with 0.25. But in saying that, they have made things a lot easier, right? Especially with the migration path on this journey for this new version release. You'll find all the information that you need in terms of the deprecated renderers and how to go about changing what you currently have to the new integrations namespace. And if I could just focus in on this, right, just to show you, all you're really doing is installing the actual renderer and any of their pure dependencies if you were to do this manually. Just using npm pnpm, which is now supported with Astro, and Yarn, so any of your favorite package managers, just bring them in. And then within your Astro config file, so this is your actual Astro config file, what you used to have in your renders namespace has now changed into just the actual integrations namespace where we're just referencing the actual import directly. So what you could probably see here is the old way of doing it, where this was just calling the renders from the background and bringing them into your project. Here we're actually directly importing it from your node modules folder and bringing them in. So this is the new path, and it is the one that has been going to be taken forward, especially with the Astro being ESM focused as it is. Another thing, Astro's not bringing the renderers to the party anymore. Renders are on a strict invite only, so if they want to be to the party, you need to invite them, and we've given them all homes for them to be sat in, just in case, they're not being brought to the prom. By all means, do take a good look at this page. Another couple of announcements is that for a long time, Astro has had an eye on Shiki, which is a syntax highlighter, which is a relatively unique way of providing syntax highlighting for your code documents within Markdown in particular, or again within the scope of any Astro page, Astro file itself. These come pre-configured with themes that we are normally accustomed to in our IDEs, and it also provides dark mode support as well. But prior to the Shiki move, Astro's always kept with Prism, and this will still be in the same, but it's just moving to a new home, and Shiki has now become the new default. So for those who are still using Prism, this is still possible. You just need to update the reference to your Prism in your Astro core and your Astro files. Like I mentioned, I'm really happy about the CSS parser being upgraded, because this does open a lot of avenues for Astro in the future. It's supported with the build CSS parser, so it's tied directly within ES build and the build process. Fantastic. Right. So what I wanted to do next was just to take you through setting up the integrations if you were just working on your own project. And what I've got here to the side is an actual demo project ready to go, just to demonstrate the steps within this integrations page within the features section. So what we just explored was the migration step within the migration guide for the new guide to 0.25. But here within the features section, you will find a new page for integrations that basically discusses how to bring these integrations on board into your project. There is two paths. There's the convenient standard default path, which is how to do things manually. And as we've explained in the previous section, we're just defining the integrations and importing them directly from our favorite package manager. And any third-party dependencies, you would have to bring them in. For instance, if we were to bring in React, we would then have to bring in React itself and React DOM. So these will be the latest React and React DOM packages available from there directly. And then you just basically apply it to your Astro config file, and from there, you're good to go. Right? If you do see any errors, there is a couple of things that you can do. Just make sure that you install the packages if needs be with npm. Make sure that the integrations are imported into your configuration files, and they are function calls, not actual names. They are function calls of the imports. Right? Now, alongside of introducing the new Astros, a community member along with the members of the core team, Yuan, I'd like to make a special shout out to him for his efforts over the last couple of weeks in particular, especially in getting the Astro add CLI command working. Now, the Astro add CLI command is what we're going to be demonstrating in a second, but just to give you a brief overview, this allows you to basically add integrations that are known to Astro and bring them in directly to save you the hassle of going down the manual happy path. This automatic integration setup allows you to just basically do it within a few short keystrokes. Here we're just following the npx or yarn or pnpx command, followed by the Astro namespace add, and then whatever integrations that you're willing to bring on board. Now you can chain these, so you can bring in as many integrations or known integrations as possible, which is fantastic, because it literally brings this whole process, as I say, down to a single command and a couple of keystrokes, right? Any further information that you need about integrations, now it's landed, you will find it here in terms of adding integrations. There's three ways of using integrations. There is using the defined import. You can install it using it from the actual from a package itself, or you can even import it locally itself from a local JavaScript or TypeScript file, right? Local JavaScript file. Yes, you'll find that here within the define name config. So you can create your own integrations on the fly as well, which is really cool. In terms of the developer experience, the new integrations API has really opened up a lot of scope for Astro in order for people to start creating and configuring new stuff and bringing in third-party projects and tools into the Astro ecosystem. So, like I promised, we're going to quickly demonstrate how to use this new Astro add command, right? And all we're really going to be doing is demonstrating about bringing in, well, why not? The Astro React, Tailwind, and Partytown configuration integrations that are now available to us. All we have here is Astro's minimal template starter, just to show from a basic starter kit, right, what you will be getting and what the differences is. So here, a quick quick overview of the package JSON file. All we're seeing is just the Astro, the latest Astro installed within the name package project itself, followed by the Astro config, and this is just a bare configuration file. Now, what we're going to be seeing is just by using our favorite command in the known universe, copy and paste. We're just copying the command npx astroadd react to the project, Tailwind to the project, and also Partytown. And what this is going to do is also going to include all the third-party dependencies for you. So you wouldn't have to do this by yourself, and it's also going to make changes to your configuration file. Now, another great announcement, just one for those who look at the terminal quite a bit. Astro has definitely given the terminal a good dressing up, and the colors are really clear. They're really nice, so great job, Ben. And as I said, a couple of keystrokes. We're just hitting yes to this because the first command is saying that Astro will make the following changes to your configuration file for you, whereas importing the integrations that we've requested, and it's also applying it towards the integrations namespace for you. Okay. Following this, it then asks you if you wish to have Astro add run this next command of installing these third-party, the peer dependencies for you, or you could actually run this command yourself later on. Now, for the sake of the demonstration, we're just going to hit yes. It's done. And because we've asked for Tailwind, another step in the configuration would be to actually create the configuration file for Tailwind itself, right? So we hit yes, and that is it. So within one command and 3 short keystrokes, we have our following integration set up within the project: React, Tailwind, and Partytown. Now we're good to go. This project is good to go with all 3, okay? Just to demonstrate, this is the Astro config file, and as you can see, the magic has been applied. There they are, sitting quite nicely. Within our package JSON file, within the dev dependencies, we have what we need. Nothing else. The latest versions of React and the latest versions of the renderers as well. Perfect, right? Tailwind, and here's the Tailwind configuration file for you with all with the main important field pre-configured for you. And all you can do is start building and extending Tailwind as you normally would. The next news we have is Ben Holmes of Slinkity fame has now formally joined Astro as part of the core team. This is huge news because it brings Ben's creative skill set to the Astro core, and when people like Ben join, projects like Astro only enriches and helps to develop it. Ben of Slinkity provide better development experience for us developers who are using the likes of Eleventy to bring in external components into the Eleventy project. Now, it is brilliant. A lot of people appreciate the Slinkity project and what Ben and others have done in that namespace. And in that respects, when he did make his big announcement, which I just want to share with the entire audience, I'm not quite sure if you get the audio, but this will be shared. Now that is how you make an entrance. It was brilliant. Genuinely got a good chuckle with that, Ben. So yes, I would recommend taking a quick look over those who are who would like to understand his thoughts about Slinkity and Astro and why he made the move and what his feelings are on this. Like he says, by owning the template language, it leads for far greater wins for both the users and the developers than Slinky could ever hope for. And like he says, Astro is really just getting started, and I can't stress that. It's really picking up steam. But right now, the rocket's still grounded, but a major move was that, like I said, we brought in Shiki, and this was all again largely spearheaded by Ben, and so Shiki is now default within Astro, and this was something that a lot of the community wanted early doors, and they finally managed to deliver it. When I say finally, it wasn't a pre, a prerequisite. This was just something that was going to come down the line eventually, but it was, pardon me, pardon me, there was more tastier fruit to tackle basically within the project itself, right? Um, Next up, sorry, I would like to talk about one of our community members and the massive work that Erika has been doing in terms of developing and working on the Astro VS Code um, extension that we all utilize within our IDE. But Erika's really been spearheading this, and I like to give a great big shout out to it because, as a beneficiary to it, I appreciate the work that she's done, really have done, and is only getting better by the sounds of things. So what we currently have is that your Astro file, well, the HTML part and the CSS is fully typed, right? So this brings it a lot closer to your more native experience that you get with your VS Code files within your HTML files and your CSS files in terms of the hovering information, the IntelliSense that you receive. Um, the diagnostics for each components from JSS-based frameworks has improved, where the neurotic errors have been worked upon. Strict mode is now finally in effect, especially within your TS config file. There's other additions, there's like so the breadcrumbs, symbols to being applied to the being known to the editor, etc. Navigation itself. These are all small things that are just helping to make the overall developer experience within Astro that tiny bit better and tiny bit greater, right? Special thank you to her, and sorry, shout out to her. So, if you those who want to keep up to date with it, sorry, this is where you will find all the information pertaining to the actual VS Code experience and the packages and scripts that are needed to it. And also follow Erika on why have I not? I thought I did. My bad. Just give her a wee like if you can, right? Um, this is just some screenshots that she's managed to put out in the community just to show, what the improvements that she's making. So the small little additions to the VS Code, the IntelliSense, the nice coloring, the hover information coming directly from MDN reference itself. I mean, it's amazing. Um, this itself is known within the HTML files that you can get when you do the hover experience, and this is what she was talking about, that this is available to you now. Um, Symbols, so this is what Erika was talking about, the symbols in that respect, being able to have the outline within your left hand side of your side panel and being able to navigate your code a lot better, especially the code within your front matter and code within the template itself. So you can navigate between the HTML and the front matter code and your CSS code and your JavaScript. Fantastic, right? Following on to the conversation about IDEs and language extension tools, there's this new one called Nova. Nova is a Mac-centric code editor, and from the face of it, it looks really damn cool. For those who use the Mac, this could be something. Those who develop on them, definitely, right? And I would like to make a special shout out to the Science Fidelity who developed the Astro Nova language extension, which is basically a help spin off of the current one, but it basically allows for Astro language support within the Nova IDE experience, providing you with the syntax highlighting and IntelliSense and auto completion and all the things that you know and love. And a really nice special shout out to Matt Cook, fellow countryman. So thank you very much, Matt, for your hard work. Next up, we're now into the community section of what's been happening with Astro this week. And there's a couple of things that I'd like to basically bring attention to. This is, we know him in the community as Read Only, but Ernesto's blog, where he's actually his blogs are very insightful in terms of, you know, he's really good at developing sites and components with Astro and he likes to write about it. And by all means, I do like reading his blog. So I like to also make a shout out to this um, page in particular where he discusses oAuth using Discord and how you use that with Astro. And as you can see, we've got that in the corner here, right? So this whole oAuth experience, right, was brought to you, well, described to you by Read Only. Now, I'm not going to go into it. I'm just going to basically say he does explain it in the in the realms of the depth and the materials. You can copy and paste these stuff if you wish to. Personally speaking, I like to read it and learn from it as well. And yeah, he's done a really great job on that. So it goes top to bottom, everything that you need to get this get up and going. And yeah, you wouldn't be with the community members, especially with Astro, especially within the Discord. You're not really stuck, you know, and that's what I like to see. You know, I really do like that. So thank you very much, Read Only, for this fantastic page. Um, Next up, we've got another blog post, right? This time from a relatively new community member who's talking about getting Directus, which their is their own no-code SQL interface that allows developers to basically interact with the SQL databases using a GUI and provides the APIs that you need to be able to query and post data to that particular database. Fantastic service. Um, this page itself, right, is pretty decent. You know, here it discusses things like we've just shown in read only's page, where we're discussing authentication, roles and permissions, the likes of the APIs that you can get. Highly recommend taking a good look over this and also going through the README tutorial because it's well written. This is their product. It allows you to interact with any SQL database and turn and create their relevant APIs using a very clean, a very intuitive no-code GUI. Next up is a page that was provided by, again, a community member, Jean Hughes, who's based out in Lyon in France, in the south. And I have to say, it's a very nice portfolio demonstration of an Astro site. Like we've seen, you know, Astro can be many things. It's a great at being a documentation site. It's great at being a portfolio site, and it's also great at being landing pages as well. You know, so it's like, and yeah, I would highly recommend taking a look, especially this Monsters Rolex was quite cool. But yeah, do give it a wee check out. Is he's got a shop down here as well? Yes, this shop is really cool as well. Next up, major announcement. Firebase had moved their blog entirely to Astro, right? This is, well, it seems to be like, you know, the last 3 months ago they released their December advent calendar, which was created on Astro, and it seems like, you know, Google have really took Astro, you know, especially the developers there, um, to heart and are now working with it. And it's great to see, you know, it's like the likes of Firebase.blog being built within Astro, and this is an Astro site. All right. Let's not be kidded. It is. It works and looks fantastic. Right. I mean, nothing loads this quick. You know, it's an Astro site. You know, and yeah, it's Google, so they have everything perfect, like the interactions, you name it. Right. Next up is probably one of the nicest sites I've seen in a long time, right? And it is just a wonderful experience. Like in terms of a user experience, again built with Astro, right? It is artistic, uses the full scroll interactions, really fluid, really well done, really really crisp. You know, they're nice. It reflects, you know, the actual product itself. You know, with the designs and the interactions and the feel good factor, and make it unexpected. Pretty unexpected, but yeah, and it keeps going and it's brilliant. Again, built with Astro. Great job. Next up, we have Lloyd's new, well, design system. I did enjoy this, playing about with this, and I thought that this is, well worth a mention when you're especially trying to, work out the sizes and spaces conceptually. This is a quite nice little tool, and I like to see this take up. This is really handy, especially for other developers. So please, by all means, do check it out. This is a design system tool created by Lloyd, who's a known member in the community, right? Next up, we have a pretty cool game created by another community member, FriedNinja, where you basically match these colors up. And this again is placed onto an Astro site. So, and it's really damn cool. Yeah, you've got a line, got two lines. Now the middle's bits. Yeah, anyways, I could get distracted on that. And next up was query that was sent my way middle of the week, and when I had a few minutes of time to get any work, well, sideways work done. Somebody was playing about with Chuck Norris. Now, I'm a big Chuck Norris fan, and I could not help but say no to this. And this is an excellent sideway tangent into what we're going to be discussing for the rest of the show, which is XElement. Now, just to show, this is an actual XElement, Chuck Norris XElement, where all we're doing is basically just got a couple of buttons, not really that much. Fetching a JSON file, generating a random quote, getting the quote, sticking the quote into the actual DOM itself, right, down here, and everything is happy days. So when we click it, we get a new Chuck Norris quote. And that is all we have for this week in Astro.